right, it is 6 o'clock, and I'll call the 8th regular Common Council meeting to order. Will the clerk please state the quote of the day?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Be the change you want to see in the world.
All right, will the clerk please call the roll?
Alderperson Ackley. Here. Alderperson Decker.
Here.
Alderperson Feldy. Here. Alderperson Flicky-Pineski. Here. Alderperson Heidemann. Here. Alderperson Mitchell. Here. Alderperson Perella. Here. Alderperson Salazar. Here. Alderperson Rust.
Excused?
Alderperson Ramey.
Here.
There are 9 present.
All right, if you're able, will you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. First item on the agenda is approval of the minutes. Alder Feldy.
Thank you, Mayor. I move to approve.
Second.
There's been a motion and second on approving the minutes. Any objection? Any comments? Seeing none, all those in favor of approving the minutes, please state aye.
Aye.
Any objection? Minutes are approved. All right, without objection, we'll take number 7 first. All right, as you can see, we have a full house today, and I know as much as the soccer team would love to sit through a 2022 operations presentation and assessment reevaluation, I figured we'd do the recognition first. So, yeah. So, obviously, we have a lot of folks here today, and they're wearing and representing with their medallions that they won on national. So if the soccer team would like to come on up, I have a proclamation for recognition that I would like to present, and I'll read to you today. So,
Yes. I was like,
come on down. It looks good for the parent pictures. That's why we're doing it. Yeah.
aren't they just the cutest things?
Yep, just stand over here. There we go.
When I was that age,
Lots of blue.
I don't know.
All right, mom, dads, come on down, take pictures. There you go. This is the photo op time, right? All right. Whereas soccer is one of the world's most popular sports and is growing popularity in the United States, whereas Sheboygan is a great community that enjoys sports and outdoor recreation, whereas the Lakeshore United FC U19 soccer team is the first female team from Wisconsin to make it to nationals, and where the Lakeshore United FC... Oh, but wait, there's more. Whereas the Lakeshore United FC U19 soccer team is the first U19 girls team to win nationals and the first in Wisconsin to ever go to the national tournament. And whereas the Lakeshore United FC U19 soccer team defeated Pennsylvania, Texas, and California to win the national championship. Now I, Ryan Sorensen, by the virtue of vested in me as the mayor of the city of Sheboygan, do hereby wish to congratulate the Lakeshore United FC U19 Navy soccer team on their glorious nationals win in representing our great city. So congratulations. So we have a proclamation. Would anyone like to say a few words?
Hi, my name is Elena Lloyd, and as a whole, I want to thank all of you guys for this award. And we've been working our butts off, just trying to win and hopefully succeed. And hopefully, these girls that are going into college succeed. All of you guys have been working hard, and I can't wait to see what happens in the future.
I know you have a busy day ahead of you, but first of all, thank you, Mayor and Common Council and the administrators that are here. I just want to say it's a good example of young people. They had a goal. We had a lot of... Oh, yeah, I didn't even know it. So that wasn't the intention. But I mean, they had some challenges, and these games were more than exciting. And we never gave up, and that's really a good example of what these young people are. They didn't give up. They just focused and got it done, and I was so proud of them. Yeah, it's crazy that they're the first team from Wisconsin to win a national championship for President's Cup, so just happy for them as young people, and I know they're going to do a lot of good things in the future, so that's awesome. We're going to use the mirror for a second.
All right.
Aren't they just the cutest bloody little things? So sweet.
You're not shooting.
Well, thank you, everyone. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
I surely hope it was.
Have a good meeting.
Sure. You want to text her? I don't know.
Where were they from?
All right.
What?
Anyone here for public forum, Claire?
Oh, so it's
There's no one this evening.
Okay. I get it.
But
All right, we're actually going to pull another audible. We're going to jump into presentations, but we'll do the finance director's report first on the 2022 reevaluation update.
Bear with me a moment. Okay, perfect. Thank you for the opportunity to present today. We had the revaluation notices of change in assessment that went out last week. There were, I think, 16,700 approximate notices that went out, so we thought it was important to give the council some background on why the revaluation happened and also how the calculations work, since I'm sure you'll have constituents calling you. I do want to point out that we do have 3 representatives in the back from Grota Appraisals. That's the Sheboygan team, so they're here every day and are here. They've been answering questions since those notices went out and answering phone calls, emails, everything like that. So those 3 ladies have done an awesome job helping out people so far. So the beginning, I just want to touch on what is a revaluation, and that's just looking and recalculating all the assessed values of the properties within the city limits. The property assessments are used to generate the tax bills, so that is how they are calculated yearly. The city did contract with Grota Appraisals at the beginning of last year to complete a citywide revaluation that started in 2021 and will be completed in 2026. The big question of why do you do a revaluation? There's 2 main components or reasons that we have to do a revaluation. The first is to stay compliant with Wisconsin state requirements. I do have the state statute that requires the city to assess property at full value at least once every 5-year period. We did receive our first notice of noncompliance, and those years were including 2018, 2019, and 2020. We do know that we were still out of compliance in 2021, so 2022 would have been our 5th year of noncompliance. With that, if we hadn't gone through the revaluation process, the state and Department of Revenue would actually have come forward and revalued the entire city themselves, and that would have cost a lot of money compared to what we are paying Grota. The other reason that we want to do a revaluation is for fairness. So if the values across the city aren't true to what the value of the property is, then you have constituents or taxpayers paying more and some paying less than what their fair value would have been. So equity and fairness is really a big driver of a revaluation as well. This is why the state wants to make sure that the cities are being held compliant and making sure that these revaluations are completed. We had two previous revaluations, and I just wanted to mention those. We had one in 2014, and that there was actually a decrease in values, and that was because we were coming out of that recession where there was the bubble that all the real estate property valuations decreased. Prior to that, we had a similar situation as what we're in currently, where there was this big boom in value. So in 2006, the value increased an average of 25%. So that was that revaluation. So I wanted to also touch on the revaluation process. There are two pieces that were factored into the new valuation and computations. So the entire city went through a market analysis, and that is looking at sale data and comparing different homes in different neighborhoods that are similar in size and things like that with the same kind of characteristics. So the assessor's office used sale data from July 1st of 2019 through December 31st of 2021. This market analysis is the true driving force behind most of the valuation changes that people saw. So those big increases, that really is market driven. The other portion of the revaluation that has been done are exterior inspections. We had contracted with Grota Appraisals to do 1/5 of the city each year. There is, though there are impacts from some of these inspections, it is minimal compared to that market analysis. It is really, the key is looking at to make sure that our records match what the inspectors and appraisers go and see in person. So if all of a sudden you have a shed, for example, that's never been, no permit was pulled and we don't have it on record, those are the type of impacts you might see from those exterior inspections. And that also is just for record keeping. We have now pictures to compare to, if we do this exterior inspections in another 10 years, we can see if anything truly changed on those properties. So here are the numbers, and this is where I get nerdy, so if you have any questions, please feel free to interrupt me. So the revaluation figures, the average increase across the city in assessed value was 35%. Residential was 42%, and commercial was 23%. That's where we get that 35% average from. The assessed value change, this is prior to open book, which will happen next week, but we did see an increase of $864 million in assessed value during this revaluation process. And here's the big question, and I'm going to grab my notes because I forgot to grab them, so one moment. This is so I don't get in the weeds on math. So the big question from all the taxpayers is, how does the revaluation affect my taxes? The key number to look at for some guidance is the percentage change between the 2 years. The city's average, like I said, is 35%. In general terms, if the change is greater than the average, tax increase is possible, and if the change is less than that average, a decrease is possible. This is an actual assessment change notice that I received from an individual, and so I'm just using it for modeling purposes. But you can see that the percentage change for this property is 75.36%. You can calculate that by taking the net change in assessment. You can see that on the screen highlighted, or circled I should say, 72,800, and dividing it by the total 2021 assessment of 96,600. This individual saw a 75.36% change, and this is an actual assessment notice. So they saw a 75.36% increase in their assessed value. The key here, though, is that 75.36% increase in value does not equate to a 75% increase in your taxes. So I'm going to model this, and this, let me know if you have any questions. On the screen, you can now see 3 different sample homes. This sample scenario is completely made up, so don't use this for any calculations of your own tax bill, but this is just for ease of understanding. So we have 3 sample homes, and you can see I'll go through each line, and each column is associated with each home that is used in this scenario, and the 4th column is the city total. So you can see in 2021 assessed value, the homes ranged in value from $80 to $120, giving the city total at $300. If we assumed that the city levied $225, and that's a number that is determined during budget time. So if the city were to levy $225, you would divide the $225 by $300 of value to get the tax rate that is then calculated against the assessed values. So if you take $225, you divide it by 300, the tax rate is $75 per hundred of value. On the second line, you can see that each property has different amounts of tax that they are paying based on their assessed value. House 1 has the highest value, so they're paying the most tax. House 3 has the lowest value, so they're paying the least amount of tax. Now we're assuming that these 3 homes went through a revaluation and we have new values for them. They range now, instead of 80 to 120, they're ranging from 120 to $145. The new city total is $400. The percentage change for the city is that $100, and that equates to 33.3% change globally throughout the city. So we then look at each home and determine how much their assessed value for their individual property changed. House 1 saw a $25 or 20.8% increase. House 2 was right around that average. We have it at 35%. And House 3 saw a 50% increase. Just based on those numbers, you can make the assumption that house number 1, because it is lower than the average of the entire city, they're likely to see a tax decrease because of the revaluation. House 3 has a significant increase over that average, so they are more likely to see an increase in their taxes. So now I'll take it a step further and say if the tax levy that the council passed did not change at all and was still $225 for 2022, the levy is then adjusted. Well, the levy rate is adjusted because of the higher assessed value. So $225 is now divided by 400 rather than 300. So the tax rate is now 56.25 or 56.25 per $100 of value. House number 1 saw a decrease in taxes. They're going from $90 to $81.56. House number 2 sees, instead of the $75, they see just a slight increase because they're right about that average, so they see a 94-cent increase. And house number 3 sees a $7.50 increase. That's because their value was so much more significant than that average. And here, the last little step here is just looking at the percentage change. So house number 1 saw a decrease of about 9%. House number 2, which was right at that average point, saw a 1.25% increase, and house number 3 saw a 12.5% increase. The 2 main takeaways of this chart, if you want to take anything away, is that because the total city valuation increased, that tax rate will decrease. That, of course, is taking into, it is making the assumption that there are no increases due to net new construction and things like that, but I won't delve into those. At the moment, we're just trying to show how it would be year to year with no increase in the tax levy. And then the other item is that the percentage change in your taxes does not, the percentage change of your assessment does not directly correlate percentage to percentage or dollar for dollar with that change in your taxes. So again, the person in house number 1, they saw a 20% increase in their value, but their taxes actually in this scenario would decrease 9%. So the question is then, what next? And I am just going to refer taxpayers to their notice of assessment letter that they received in the mail. There are very clear instructions. There is contact information for the assessor's office right on that letter, and that will give them steps for review and even if they have questions on how to contest their assessment. Any questions?
Any questions from alders? Alder Perella?
Will you share the presentation?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Alder Flicky-Paneski?
That was mine.
All right.
And I will, sorry to interrupt again, but I actually, the calculation part, the 2 slides, I actually created a video based on if there was feedback from the council. I was going to edit the video, but we are going to be sharing that on social media as well, on the City of Sheboygan's pages, to make sure that taxpayers have that available to them as well.
I know we have our assessor team here. Any comments that you guys would like to add, or no?
Go to the microphone.
I think the finance director did an excellent job on explaining that, and it is very accurate, very much so. So thank you very much for explaining that for all the property owners and everyone else here. Thank you.
I know the assessors team has been very busy fielding a lot of conversations and questions over the last few days, so I appreciate the work that they're doing. Alder Ramey?
I have a question. It came from one of my constituents about, so if it's only a portion of the city that's being assessed, so let's say a portion of the city gets higher taxes, and then is it 5 years later, another portion of the city gets assessed? What if that taxes go down for them? That was do you understand their concern?
Yes, I do understand. Because that market analysis was done across the whole city, everyone is seeing this increase right now. So those exterior inspections, that's the part that's only going 1/5 of the city at a time. So that is having that minimal impact. So really, the changes are going to affect everybody this year. I will also mention that this market analysis is a 5-year program, so we will be seeing this for the next 5 years, through 2026. So we will have this market analysis done, so everyone will be getting adjusted at the same time.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Good question. All right. Thank you, Director Krieger. Next presentation, we'll do the 2022 operations update from Administrator Wolf.
All right, thank you. I don't know if I can beat that one.
You got 5 minutes.
5 minutes? Oh. All right. All right, so hopefully this will be looked at as a lot more positive information. Obviously, this is the 2022 operations update for quarters 1 and 2, and we'll try to move it along as quickly as possible. This was all made possible by the great city team members working hard to get us ahead. So we need to remember that this is all because of the team that we're doing and making things happen fast. So our core values, again, our core values here at the city are our STAIRS approach, our service, teamwork, accountability, innovation, respect, and stewardship, which is our fiscal responsibility. Next. So moving through this, the team is doing a great job addressing and correcting as we go. So as you can see, we've continued to streamline our processes, manage and clean up our efforts in strengthening fiscal controls to establish policies and procedures noted that were missing from our CLA study in the past. Next. As we continued through this and our Tyler Munis chart of accounts and conversion completed, Caitlin and her team went from 13,800 accounts and reduced them down to approximately 3,600. To align with the state and federal reporting requirements back in June. So this was a huge undertaking by Director Krieger and her department and the department heads. Next. Moving forward, we continued the creation of the city's first 10-year fiscal strategic planning with Ehlers. Originally, we looked at a 5-year, but we moved it to 10. Looking at this, we improved the strategic management and valuable financial resources, maximize our fiscal program, and timing of our TID closures, which we closed 6 of the TIDs. So we started with the typical 5-year, but then we noted that many areas needed to be identified for the council and city to be more strategic in planning, so we went with the 10-year moving forward. Next. As we just listened to, we have the GROTA appraisals and revaluation. We're in phase 2 of the 5 phases that are underway. And the revaluation is a hot topic, but this is due to the falling behind, as Director Krieger had pointed out. We need to keep this updated to assist our constituents, as you can see from the prior presentation. Next. Moving ahead, we had our 2023 to 2027 capital improvements program adopted in June also. This is another approved capital improvements and strategic planning and prioritizing to help us control our borrowing for the future. Next. Moody's Investors Service, again, just to make sure everybody is aware, we did maintain our AA2 rating, and it was confirmed back in March of 2022. And again, great job to the team in maintaining our AA2. This may get more difficult with economics in the future, as we all know. Next. Another great project is our Tyler Payments and Credit Card Processing Module, which was approved by council back in March of 2022. This is still coming. So we're still in process of implementation, but many great projects are in process this year. Next. So on this slide, you're going to see as we move across the screen, you're going to see that we continued improvements of our 2022 quarters 1 and 2. So as you can see, we did our Shoreline Metro Hotspot mobile app, and that's digital fares and payments, and that's also going to assist us in our parking moving forward. We also looked at our Shoreline Metro new driver training program, and I want to give a shout out to Derek and his team because they did a great job. And what people may not realize is this is recognition for best practice at the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration. And his program is actually now considered one of the standards that they look and reference. So great job. Next. New Harbor Express trolley, as we all realize, we've got a great red trolley. It's brand new, state of the art, and we also have 10 new buses here at the city. And as a past alder, I know that the city has struggled for many, many years, and this is the first time we've actually had a new fleet of new buses. I can remember when we used to purchase used buses from like Milwaukee. So I'm sure we can remember that, Joe. So again, great job on that. Next. My Civic electronic community information and engagement platform is nearing completion. We had a little bit of a hiccup, but we're working through that with our Tyler, it's 311 and Tyler, can't think, it's 311, Tyler 311, thank you. Next, okay, so IBMi AS400, that's one of those things that we just love to not talk about in the near future. So we've done great strides in getting items off of this program. So we're 40% reduction, and we're looking to have an additional 40% this year. Next. Language Line, a great tool to help departments throughout the city. This is going to allow us to communicate a lot more efficiently and clearly with our constituents that have additional languages that we're not familiar with or have necessarily team members on site able to communicate that way. So it's going to be a great step forward. Next. Next one is our ARPA Small Business Emergency Assistance Program that we've implemented. So far, we've provided 37 businesses, and we've spent $303,668 of the $360 that we allotted for it. We've also provided 40 businesses with CARES Act dollars prior to that. So we continue to reach out and help our local businesses in improving their situations. Next. Municipal code revisions underway for gender neutral language, and again, that's continued improvements throughout the city. Next. Host compliance software implemented, collaboration between city development and city clerk and finance. Next. And the last one for this section is the creation of the 2023 and through 2027 strategic plan, which is underway, and we're just finishing it up with a little bit more information. Next. And last but not least is the Uptown Social Educational Event, how to support the Rainbow community. So this was a great event that was held here at City Hall, and it was also open to city employees. Next. So moving forward in our investment on employees in 2022, quarters 1 and 2, so we had our HSA contribution that we provided to our staff towards health insurance. We were able to maintain that. We completed our annual anti-harassment training for all staff, which again, that should be done on an annual basis. Leadership Development Program, Leading Change. We have approximately 40-plus directors and supervisors that are attending that. Again, that's education for growth as we move forward. Next. Next, our Tyler Annual Conference, largest representation ever from the city of Sheboygan. We had 8 of the 8 from the 4 departments, so that was a great example of providing time and training to improve our processes here at the city. Next, Carlson-Detman Compensation Study. I know I cringe when I say that. For all non-represented positions is under review. This is a great opportunity to fix and address for our #1 asset. Next, all right. Employee Handbook and policies under review and update for inclusivity. This is continued work, and we're still chipping away at it with additional resources outside the city. Next. All right. Looking forward in 2022 for a strong finish in our strategies. Again, continuous improvement is better than delayed perfection by Mark Twain. So as we look at these, finishing strong, Munis Project Ledger and Capital Assets Module implementation, we've owned it for 16 years and it's never been used. And it's going to be a great addition to what tools we have. Next. We have our Tyler Munis Payments and Cashiering electronic payment capability for support, improved residential access and experience. Again, this is taking us into the 21st century. Next. As we move forward, we've got the Munis Human Capital Management Module expansion, majority unused. Again, this touches the HR area and how it reaches out to all of the different departments. Next. Munis upgrade to version 2021.3, second upgrade in 1 year, keeping ERP systems and technology up to date. This will be completed in August, and if we all recall, it wasn't that long ago that we were at 11.3 that in 2021 was no longer going to be basically managed and backed up. So we look at that and we're already looking at 2021. So this is a huge opportunity for the city. Next. Resuming implementation of Tyler Munis Parks and Rec for online reservation information and payments. Again, making it easier for our constituents with all the services that we provide. Next. Munis payroll module and process enhancements for proper use of workflow approvals. This is a great piece because it's going to affect all of our different departments when it comes to payroll and actually, with employees clocking into different projects and time. Next. Munis business license module. We're doing a gap analysis and that's underway. And last, DTS ViewWorks EAM. This is a very exciting project. The system is in implementation. It continues. We're in year 1 of 2. Right now, this year, we're finishing up on the parks and streets, and then they'll be implementing the work orders. So we'll actually be able to identify where's all the work going and how much time does it take. So moving forward, 2022 improvements, initiatives continue. I described the design process as like the tip of the iceberg. What you don't see is the long haul, and that's by Norman Foster. Again, great shout out to the team. Everybody is working so hard and diligently because we have to understand that all of these improvements are being done in addition to our daily our daily tasks. So this is stuff that's going to make us work smarter, not harder. So thank you.
Thank you, Administrator Wolf. Any questions for Administrator Wolf from Alders? Alder Flicky-Pineski.
Thank you, Mayor. I heard the term Tyler Munis multiple times.
Yes.
Can you talk to us about why we hear it multiple times and the background of Tyler Munis and who they are and where they are?
Sure, thank you. Tyler Munis is actually our ERP system that
ERP?
enterprise resource planning, it's our main it's our main program that we use throughout the city, whether it's finance or DPW. Everybody uses basically that platform for all of our projects. And it has many, many, many modules. And we, as I tend to talk about quite often, we've had it since, I believe, 2006, and we've continued for years to not use all of the modules. Many modules we were actually paying for year over year, but not using. Does that answer your question?
So you're beginning to integrate a software
Yes.
solution over the entire city?
Over the entire city and departmentally. So we're starting to use modules that we haven't used, and we've brought additional modules on to better the city, like Tyler Payments and things like that, to bring us up in technology.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Any additional comments from alders? All right, thank you, Administrator Wolf.
Thank you.
Moving on to the consent agenda, items 8 through 16. Alder Feldy.
Thank you, Mayor. I move to receive and file all ROs, receive all RCs, and adopt all the resolutions and ordinances.
Second.
There's been a motion and second. Any discussion on the items in the consent agenda? Seeing none, this is a roll call vote.
Nine ayes.
Those items are approved. Items 17 through 21, report of officers, will be referred to their respective committees. Item 22 under resolutions. Resolution number 38, 22, 23 by Alders Felding Ackley, authorizing the police department to enter into a pre-release evaluation license agreement to Motorola Solutions for interview room video recording system. Alder Feldy,
I ask to suspend the rules.
any objection to suspension? Alder Flicky-Pineski?
I would like to know why we're suspending the rules.
Chief?
We're in the middle of an upgrade, and this is an upgrade to that system. It's a beta version that Motorola is letting us test for free. So rather than do the implementation twice, we'd like to do it once.
Thank you.
All right. Alder Feldy, will you please state the main motion?
Yes, I move to accept the resolution.
Second.
There's been a motion and second. Any discussion on this item? Seeing none, this is a roll call vote.
Again.
Nine ayes.
That item is approved. Next, item 23, resolution number 41, 22, 23 by Alders Feldy and Flicky-Pineski, authorizing retaining outside legal counsel to represent the city of Sheboygan in the matter of Badger State Lofts versus the city of Sheboygan and authorizing payment of said services. Alder Feldy?
I ask to suspend the rules again, please.
Any objection? Alder Flicky-Pineski?
I would like to know why we're suspending the rules.
Attorney Adams?
Yeah, so, and just so you know, on all resolutions that come through our office for which the rules are being suspended, it actually does say it right in the resolution. And I'll just read it here. The rules are being suspended so that this resolution may be approved immediately due to the fact that Cybel Law Offices LLC needs to begin preparing an answer in response to the complaint.
Thank you.
All right, Alder Feldy, please state your main motion.
I move to adopt the resolution.
Second.
Motion second. Any discussion on this item? Seeing none, this is a roll call vote. Please refer to your Muni code.
9 ayes.
That item is approved. Items 24 through 27 will be referred to their respective committees. Item 28, reports of committees, RC number 48, 2223 by the Finance and Personnel Committee, to whom was referred direct referral number RO 372223 by the Finance Director, submitting a report to the Finance and Personnel Committee regarding the process of the Carlson-Detman study. Alderman Mitchell.
Thank you, Mayor. I move to accept and file.
Second.
Motion and second. Any discussion on this item?
Just a couple comments.
Alder Mitchell.
Just wanted to give some context for what this is. After we sent the proposed wage scale from the compensation study back to finance, the committee hasn't taken up a vote on that scale yet, but we have asked that there's ongoing communication about what developments have happened regarding the changes being proposed, and up until the committee votes, we'll probably keep seeing these come through. They're informational, so if you didn't get a chance to take a look at it, it's worthwhile.
Thank you, Alder Mitchell. Any other discussion on this item? Seeing none, this is a voice vote. All those in favor of accepting and filing, please state aye.
Aye.
Any objection? That item is filed. Thank you. Next is item 29, City Attorney.
One other matter, it's an RO number 432223 by the city clerk submitting a license application.
And that will be referred to the Licensing Hearing and Public Safety Committee. Alder Feldy, we've exhausted the agenda.
I move to adjourn.
Second.
Motion second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any objection? We're adjourned at 6:41. Thanks, everyone.